The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise. Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
And good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. A lot to get to this morning, but first, the weather's still really beautiful as we round out September. We begin this morning with yet another homicide in Kern County. It happened last night at the Mesa Marin Sports Complex in East Bakersfield. Officers were called to the area off Highway 178 near Bedford Green Drive just before 10:30 p.m. for a report of a shooting. That's where they found a victim, a man. He later died. Witnesses told officers the man was talking to the suspect, but after a brief conversation, the suspect pulled out a gun and shot him. The gunman also shot at another person, but they weren't hit. The suspect then ran off. If you know anything, you're urged to call police.
That shooting just the latest in a string of killings in Kern County after another deadly shooting in Southwest Bakersfield yesterday morning. Bakersfield police officers were called to an apartment complex in the area of Serrano Avenue and South Real Road at about 9:30 for a report of a shooting. The man died before police were able to get there. Chanel Burton lives across the street with her 10-year-old granddaughter. She says she was watching TV when the shooting happened.
It's terrifying. It happened right outside my window. It could have easily came through my window, through the wall. And I'm raising my grandchild. It could have been me. It could have been her. The killing needs to stop. I'm trying to leave this area. So I'm in the process of buying a house because I can't deal with this.
By our count, our county has recorded 108 homicides so far this year. That means we're on track to surpass last year's record of 140 killings. We'll have more about this disturbing trend this evening on 17 News at 5.
In your 17 Court Watch this morning, 2 more organizations are looking to join in the oversight process following the settlement of a lawsuit against the Bakersfield Police Department. The American Civil Liberties Union Foundation of Southern California and Faith in the Valley have filed to join in the California Attorney General's lawsuit against BPD. That lawsuit claimed the department engaged in excessive force and other violations over the past 4 years. The suit was settled with a multi-year plan on BPD's part to revise its use of force under a variety of circumstances. The lawsuit also addressed concerns with the Kern County Sheriff's Office use of force. KCSO will also undergo a period of monitoring to ensure it's addressed those concerns. The ACLU and Faith in the Valley want court authority to be part of the monitoring process as it relates specifically to BPD.
Firefighters continue to make gains on containment of the Windy fire, up from 25% yesterday to 31% this morning. And more good news. The Tulare County Sheriff's Office plans to downgrade evacuation orders for several communities to evacuation warnings, effective at noon today. Those communities include Alpine Village, Camp Nelson, Cedar Slope, Coy Flat, Pier Point, Quaking Aspen, Ponderosa, and Sequoia Crest. Nearby Mountain Air and Rogers Camp will remain closed until evacuation orders are lifted. And prior orders and warnings not mentioned will remain in effect. An evacuation center is still in place at Porterville College. The Windy fire was sparked by lightning on September 9th and has burned more than 88,000 acres on the Thule River Indian Reservation and the Sequoia National Forest.
Containment's also up on the KNP Complex fire, which has burned more than 48,000 acres in Sequoia National Park. Officials say containment is now at 11%, up from 8% Tuesday, and there have been no new evacuation warnings or orders in the past 24 hours. A Red Cross evacuation center is available at Woodlake Community Center.
The Kern County Coroner's Office has identified the man killed in a hit-and-run crash last week. Bakersfield police say on the afternoon of September 21st, 74-year-old Jerry Wesley Wallace was driving southbound on Union Avenue, approaching Columbus Street, when his car was struck on the passenger side. Wallace was taken to Kern Medical, where he later died. Police have not released any suspect information. If you have any information, you can call police.
A 13-year-old student was taken into custody yesterday afternoon after he brought a loaded handgun to Oak Valley School in Tulare. Tulare County Sheriff's deputies arrived and found the gun in the boy's backpack. No one was hurt. Detectives found the boy had made criminal threats to another person in the school prior to his arrest. A search warrant was conducted at the boy's house in Tulare, where detectives seized additional guns. The investigation continues.
Today is Lewis Gill's last day as CEO of the Bakersfield Homeless Center and the Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault. It is a job he has held for 21 years, and by all accounts, a job he has done well.
What do you consider the biggest accomplishments for you and your staff at BHC in the last 21 years?
I am certain that the greatest thing that we have done is that we have refused to move from the premise that everybody has value and that it is heart-based work, and that the best way to help a life change is to love them through the hard times.
17's Jim Scott sat down with Gill to talk about his past and his future, including a potential run for office. Gill also heaped praise on KGET for our many years of collaborative support of the Bakersfield Homeless Center. You can watch the full interview on our website, kget.com.
For the second straight year, the Kern County Museum will not host the annual fall favorite known as Safe Halloween. Citing the lingering pandemic, Museum Director Mike McCoy tells 17 News they'll wait another year to return. But all is not lost. Starting tomorrow evening and every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night through October 31st, the museum will host an attraction called Halloweenville, organized by some of the same people who brought us Talladega Frights. Tickets are $10 for Halloweenville and an additional $15 for the haunted house. But Blue at the Zoo will be back at the California Living Museum October 23rd and 24th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The event features spectacular games to play for prizes, festive decorations, and of course all the animals. Kids of all ages are encouraged to dress up in their costumes. For more information, visit kget.com.
We are recapping our top stories on this Thursday morning, and a man was shot and killed at the Mesa Marin Sports Complex in East Bakersfield last night. Witnesses told officers that the man was talking to the suspect, but after a brief conversation, the suspect pulled out a gun and shot him. The suspect ran off. If you know anything, call police. That killing coming just hours after another deadly shooting, this time in Southwest Bakersfield. Police officers were called to an apartment complex in the area of Serrano Avenue and South Real Road at about 9:30 yesterday morning. The man died before police got there. By our count, our county has recorded 108 homicides so far this year. Firefighters continue to make gains on the Windy fire. Containment is up from just 25% yesterday to 31% this morning. And more good news, the Tulare County Sheriff plans to downgrade evacuation orders for several communities at noon later today.
The state's first vaccine mandate goes into effect tomorrow. It's directed at healthcare workers, and it could force short staffing at hospitals and medical care centers. 17's Chris Burton joining us live this morning from Mercy Hospital with more. Chris.
Good morning, Maddie. Now, most healthcare workers across Kern County's major hospitals are vaccinated, but there are still some that aren't. And ahead of Friday's deadline, healthcare centers are keeping an eye on staffing numbers. Hospitals already facing another COVID surge and crowded ICUs may find themselves with another challenge this weekend. Starting Friday, healthcare workers must have at least one dose of a COVID vaccine or an authorized vaccine exemption, according to an August order by the California Department of Public Health. If they don't, they can't show up to work.
Any loss of any of our caregivers is a very significant concern. In this case, it's qualified or amplified as a result of the vaccination question.
Across Dignity Health's Memorial and Mercy hospitals, just over 80% of workers have at least one dose of the vaccine. 10% of Mercy Hospital's workers have been approved for an exemption, and the rest are unaccounted for or have pending exemption requests. At Adventist Health, those numbers are a bit higher.
We're sitting in a really good position. We're down to really less than 10 people across our health system who we have an unknown status for.
Healthcare workers are required by the order to be fully vaccinated. Workers with a vaccine exemption or an incomplete vaccine dose will need to test twice weekly and wear a mask. Consequences are steep. If a worker is unvaccinated without an exemption, they will be placed on administrative leave until January, or until they get vaccinated or secure an exemption.
If none of those things become true, those folks could be terminated in January.
Keller said Dignity Health plans to address possible staffing shortages by bringing in traveling healthcare workers and extending shifts for those willing. Maddie, Alex, I want to make something very clear here. Those workers that have exemptions or incomplete vaccinations will have to continue to test twice weekly and wear a mask until or unless they become fully vaccinated. Otherwise, they could face the same repercussions as the non-exempt unvaccinated workers. Live at Dignity Health Mercy Hospital, Chris Burton, 17 News.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. And now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County. Numbers continue to trend in the right direction, meaning the third surge could soon be behind us. Public Health announced 382 new cases and no new deaths yesterday. Since the beginning of the pandemic, 1,540 people have died from this virus here in Kern County. 248 people are in the hospital right now. Another 77 people are in the ICU.
The Centers for Disease Control has issued an urgent health warning in hopes of increasing vaccination rates in pregnant women. The CDC says it strongly recommends the COVID-19 vaccine either before or during pregnancy. According to the CDC, the vaccine provides benefits for both the pregnant mother and fetus or infant. A CDC health advisory recommends the vaccine to help prevent serious illness, death, or pregnancy complications. The CDC says only a third of all pregnant people in the country are fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
For thousands of Californians, it's what kept a roof over their heads, as many lost their jobs due to the pandemic. But tomorrow, the state's COVID-19 Tenant Relief Act expires, along with the protections that come with it. Starting tomorrow, those renting apartments and other properties must pay up or risk removal. But there are steps you can take to stay in your home after the deadline by applying for assistance from the state or speaking with an attorney to fight the eviction.
And it may take a long time actually for a landlord to get you evicted. There's going to be a court process involved as well. But under housingiskey.com, if you get an application on file with the state, there are all sorts of resources that can actually assist you and try to prevent the eviction.
California has pledged billions of dollars in federal relief money to pay up to 18 months of back rent for qualifying tenants. That also includes help for landlords who could get paid by the state for money they lost. Starting tomorrow, if a landlord seeks to remove a tenant for failure to pay, they must first apply for rental assistance before issuing an eviction. Again, that website is housingiskey.gov. Welcome back. Kern Public Health says they are seeing a steady stream of people attending the free COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the fair. The fair is partnering with Public Health to offer the free clinic on site. No appointments are required. You can just simply show up and get your shot. And if you get the shot at the fair, you will also receive a free admission ticket. And a donation of blood or platelets can also get you a free ticket to the fair. Houghton Community Blood Bank is offering a pint for a pass to help boost donations. Today and tomorrow, they'll be giving out 2 free adult tickets to each whole blood donor and 4 free adult tickets to platelet and plasma donors. Houghton says they have completely run out of fair tickets at both of their donor locations, but they still have some available at their mobile site. To find the nearest mobile site, you can just head to hcbb.com. And as always, you can schedule an appointment.
Yeah, they said this has been a really big promotion for them. It's been bringing in a lot of donors. Hey, yeah.
They have been really needing to fill the shelves, so that's good news.
Food insecurity is a growing issue across the country and here at home. Fairgoers yesterday had the chance to lend a helping hand by donating canned food at the fair. The Kern County Fair and Cap K hosted their annual Feed the Need event, and people were able to come together and give 5 cans of food in exchange for admission to the fair. Some fairgoers said donating was just common sense.
Helping a little bit means helping a lot, and bringing all your cans to help the kids, honestly, it's a big help, and why not do it, right?
Cap K, the Community Action Partnership of Kern, operates a food bank that helps feed more than 40,000 people each month. In total, more than 23,000 pounds of food was collected during yesterday's drive. Another great news story.
That's great to hear.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.